some magic you can do uh, when new moons come about. I'm going to try to keep this one nugget size, but I do have a bit of information to share. So, firstly, it's good to know, and it might seem backwards, but so a full moon is really great for releasing things. Like the energy has really built up, and that moment that it's like climbing up the mountain and going up to the top of the roller coaster, and then as the full moon starts to wane, going down like that. And so that's why we release when we leave a full moon. But when a new moon comes, it's actually like a mini eclipse, right? And the funny thing is, we usually associate eclipses with releasing because we usually associate them with a full moon, like a full moon eclipse. But a new moon, which is like a void moon, is a moon that we cannot see because of the angle that it is to the sun and the earth. And it's like that moment when you have tilled the soil and it is fresh and new, and you get to decide what seeds do you want to plant in it. And if you pay attention to moon, what new moon it is, like what's the sign that it's in, what's the day that it's on, and what significance does it have towards the rest of the year? Like today's new moon, today is an Aries new moon. It is actually the first new moon of the astrological year because remember, the astrological year ends with Pisces and starts with Aries. And so that the first new moon of the astrological year is always significant in that it tends to set forward what the overall theme of the rest of the year is going to look like. And that's really important. And I kind of go by one of two things. If I'm aware of what the moon is and I know when it is and I have the headspace to do it, I do it intentionally. If I don't have that headspace or I missed it, I think about what I was doing and thinking about on the day that that new moon occurred, and then I can go, oh, okay, so that's probably going to be influential. And also remember, with moons, you typically have kind of a 6 day period. You have the day of said moon, 3 days before, 3 days after. So all is not lost if you don't do it on the day of. It's just more powerful on that. But it's good to be intentional and to work with the energies and things that you have around you. And it can also give you, it's kind of good self care to think about these things. And even if you're like, nah, that moon stuff is too witchy for me, you can still do this in your own energy. The other thing to look at is, is the moon, is it a super moon? So that means that it's very, very close to the earth, much closer than it normally is. And is it associated with any special days for you, either anniversaries or birthdays or near another, like more of a national holiday of some kind or a global holiday? And then also, where is it in alignment with other moons? Because the interesting absurdities that we have in the solar system, they don't always line right up, or sometimes it'll be like we could have a blue moon, so two full moons in a row, and then a new moon, and that one will also be significant. And I'm still learning a little more about it, and I'm loving these moments when I get to say, I don't know everything about this, because that's a new energy for me. Not knowing things, but getting to be proud and happy about not knowing everything, is I'm also aware that there are certain new moons of the year that carry extra significance. I'm not 100% sure why. Like, I know last year's pivotal new moon was it a new moon? Well, it was a full moon. It was when the full moon was in Pisces. So, oh, you know what? That's why, because it was the first full moon of the new year. So, see, look at that. Spirit provides all the answers we need. It was the first full moon of the new year. And then I'm going to have to look up to make sure that I'm fully correct on this. So, stay tuned for future videos on it where I'll do more about the full moons. But we can look at that and say, okay, that first full moon of the year, and then if we go 6 months later to when it switches, so if we have Pisces, oh, they're not polar opposites. Why would it have been? No, that would have been in Aquarius. So see, I'm correct. There is a weirdness in there. So when the sun was in Aquarius, the new moon. No, I'm wrong. The season was in Pisces and the moon was in Virgo. That's what it was. Because I remember the switchover was when we had the moon in Pisces and the sun in Virgo. And that was the leading energy for the year. And that's why, because I still haven't looked up, like, I've been looking at it, but I haven't found the answer yet. I know Spirit will provide it, or maybe one of you will provide it if you know. But that new moon really carried out a theme for the year, and it was very. I did a video about it, about the this new year astrologically, and included some more in-depth information about that. But there are certain moons, and you can pick it up by reading other astrologers, listening to other people talking about it, and start to learn about that stuff. And you can use that as a part of your goal setting and achievement and self-worth and self-care. And if you get into the twin flame stuff, aligning with that sort of thing, and kind of being able to have an idea of the theme of expectation that might go on. Now, I know that today's new moon, I've been calling it, it's not just today, it's been an ongoing energy, but this is definitely a one of the peaking moments of what been calling Dragon's Gate, this really powerful Aries energy. And we can take that and look at, okay, if this new moon, if it's a time for planting seeds, and we know that there is stellium in Aries, we've got the sun in Aries, the moon in Aries, I believe Jupiter, Venus, I want to say Saturn. I'll have to double check, but I believe they're all in Aries. And that's some supercharged Aries energy. That's part of what makes it so profound, not just the sun and moon being in the same sign, stellium of planets and some powerhouse planets. Oh, that's right. We also have Chiron and Vesta in Aries too. So we actually have, I mean, they're asteroids, but they're still important, and they are in there. And I believe somebody was talking about Eros, which is it's a planetoid that is just past Pluto that was more recently discovered, but it has energies that come in and affect things too. And I'll have to do a different video about it. It's very interesting to think about, and it works in tandem with Pluto, which is like Hades, the god of the underworld, and Eros was kind of a divine feminine that fit with that Hades energy, but it was very much about chaos, but the order in chaos, the beauty of the times when the contrast and the chaos fit together and bring us blessings, miracles, things like that. Now, looking at the significance of a new moon like this, in general, you could, like just any old typical new moon, no stelliums, no anything particular, you could sit and say, okay, what do I want to set as an intention for this next month? Like from this new moon to the next new moon. Or this new moon to the next full moon. You could really look at it that way, because there's not a very long period from the full moon to a new moon. And you can say, okay, what's the overall theme of things that I would like to work on or learn about or recognize, or what sort of juicy, delicious thing do I want to bring into my vibration? You could say, like, I want to be aware of where I am most confident and least confident. I want to think about the areas to which I can choose to improve, where I am ready and able to hear communications from community and spirit and things like that, that I can grow in these ways. You could do it all sorts of ways. And I'll do some more talk about intention setting and stuff like that later. But you can, think about that. What do you want to work on? And really work to make your intention setting in any situation, but especially with new moons, just about you and you and spirit. Like, what do you want to do? Because anything you work on with yourself is going to affect others around you. So whether that's kids, family, your twin, your job, it's all going to affect it. So you don't have to, there's no reason to have any sort of worry about other things around you. You're already working on that. And so then set that down, look at that. And if it's a new moon like today's new moon, think about, okay, so for the next 6 months, what kind of theme do I want to work on? What, do I want to do some shadow work, some light work, some gray work? Do I want to work on seeing how I put myself on a pedestal and remove that? Or do I want to work on simple adulting chores and things of that nature? Like, play with it. Be like the toddler. Put the Lego in your mouth and be like, it doesn't taste very good, doesn't feel very good, but I like the smoothness here and I don't like the roughness there. Just let yourself play with that energy. Now, well, okay, let's say, so when the new moon is in a certain sign, the new moons are always in the same sign is the sun, so you can know that. So if somebody says, oh, there's a new moon on April 11th, and you know the sun is in Aries, then you can always know the new moon will also be in the same sign in Aries. Now, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's considered the infant to toddlerhood age in there, and it's also about our ego, not ego in necessarily in a bad way, but ego as in that part of us that helps us play with individuality and feel a sort of disconnect from other and from the universe. And you could look at that sort of stuff. What sort of ego work do you want to do? Do you want to fit into that? Aries is also often it's like that fool energy, that starting a new adventure and not, going by divine inspiration and not worrying so much about what's on the path ahead. Just pack your little satchel and go, right? It's also connected with emperor energy. So you could look to things that have to do with structure in your life or fatherhood or divine masculinity, things of that nature. Likewise, when we well, yeah, so the switch over would be, so that you look to the polar opposite, which is Libra. So when we have the new moon in Libra, which will be in Libra season when the sun is in Libra, then you can do kind of a switch over and say, okay, now I want to create a balance with this energy, working on Libra stuff, which is all about balance, right? Justice, karma, lessons learned, things like that. So you can kind of presuppose that because you know that that opposite energy 6 months from now is going to be the opposite of that, you can say, okay, so I'm going to set my intention now for this first new moon of the year and allow it to turn into something that easily segues, or you get a juxtaposition into the Libra energy, because Aries is all about self and individuality, whereas Libra is all about interdependence. Or you could face things with, well, you could use both to challenge, do healing work that has to do with codependence, because Aries is the independence you must learn, that everybody must learn in order to be able to get to and have and hold space for healthy interdependent relationships, right? So you can work on those two things. And you can do that with any moon of any kind that either you feel it is significant for the year, or you are told and you trust the incoming source that it's going to be a really significant moon, and you can work with that energy like that. And then also recognize too that that strength of what you set will probably be there for that, for especially for the next like 30 days ish until the next new moon. And then when you look at things that have, like they say, there's stelliums, or there's a specific angle, like you could have all the Aries energy at a significant angle to Saturn, or like what we have right now, it's a significant angle to Saturn and to Chiron and to Vesta. And Chiron is the wounded healer, and all it deals with fears of abandonment and things like that, and also our ability to rescue and heal ourselves, and then allow our stories to be shared to help heal others. And Vesta is all about thresholds and both the juicy duality between like a virginal feeling and I want to say like a slutty expressive kind of feeling in there, that eroticness, but like she's the erotic virgin, for lack of a better way to put it. And some people even believe that her story later turned into like the Virgin Mary sort of story. And which you can kind of see. I mean, immaculate pregnancy, right? And you can take that and say, okay, so we've got all this Aries energy. It's this newness, this desire to grow, this childlike energy, and also about structure and divine masculinity and things like that. And say, okay, so it's an aspect to Saturn, which deals with time and karma, an aspect to Chiron, which deals with that wounded healer magic, and also like fear of abandonment wounds, and that can connect with that Aries energy, the ego, the self, right? And also the inner child. And then Vesta, which is those thresholds. So you could look at the kinds of things in your life that you're like just on the threshold of, you're kind of teetering, like there's this healing work over here I've kind of been resisting doing, so I can set an intention to work on that and allow myself to flow with the natural energy that's already going on, right? I'm feeling like that's the best part. That's the best place to leave this. Although I'm recognizing that this is sort of a newer thing for me to impart. So, Your feedback is welcome in the comments below. If you'd like more information or more succinct information, please let me know. And if you'd like to add anything to what you know about new moon intention setting and anything related, please feel free to leave in the comments below. I'll be delighted. I know others will be delighted. But until then, thanks for watching. Thanks for adding your vibes to the tribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.